can't get any words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. I hope we're all well. I hope we're ripping into the back end of our week. We've got an old double up episode this week, and that is because we've got a UFC card this Sunday. Oh my Lord, I'm talking like I'm in America. I wish I was in America, but yes, it is time for our UFC 320 breakdown. But before we do rip into what is actually stacked up to be a cracking card, this one snuck up on me. It's been a while between drinks. Feels like it's been 5 weeks between 319 to 320. Usually it's like consistent every 3 to 4 weeks. We've got a main pay-per-view, so feels like it's been a long stretch. But that could just be me. But this one does feel like it's. I don't know. Feels like I'm out of whack, so it feels like it's just crept up on me. But that doesn't matter. We're going to rip into it. But as per usual, before we do, let's rip into a couple of gossip stories and news articles around the UFC and the fight world. Now, we'll kick off. We had UFC Perth over the weekend, and when that first got announced, I jumped on here. I was like, God, I want to go. I want to go to a UFC event, and started looking at tickets, and it was like, I don't know, like $1,000 just for flights to get over to Perth. Then you got accommodation. Then the tickets were like $460 or something for, let's face it, not great seats. For sure would have seen more on the TV, but I don't know. I think you've just got to experience that atmosphere once in your life. And I think, like, even if it's just a generic fight night, if it ever comes to Brisbane or the Gold Coast or something, I think I'm going to have to go. But I don't know. I quietly want to make a deal with myself. If there is another UFC pay-per-view, which realistically it has to happen within the next 12 months. We've got 2 Australian UFC champions in JDM and Volk. If they're not headlining an Australia card coming up, you're bloody dreaming. I mean, I know JDM is fighting Islam in, where is it? Oh, that's at fucking Madison Square Garden. That's huge. So he's got his hands tied with him, so that just leaves Volk. So I don't know. Do we get a UFC Sydney card coming up with potentially Volk versus Diego Lopez? Who knows? But anyway, back to Perth. It for a free card, it actually stacked up to be all right. And I don't know if that's because I'm Australian that I was just like, every fight had an Australian in it basically, minus a few obviously. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But the headline of it, Carlos Ulberg, my Lord, what a knockout. That dude is an absolute beast. Not only does he have a body of a god, but he has fucking hands that can just knock out anyone. So I was so excited to see him get the win. And so many Aussies got up, which was good to see. So the big news coming from that card, though, was the ticket sales, which is where I was getting to at the start of this rant. Look, I should preface this episode as well. I was meant to kick off with this. I have just come... Oh, God. I've just come off the back of a full day's work Tuesday, come home for a few hours, did the whole kids thing, ended up going back to work last night at like 6:30 or something, working through till like the early hours of this morning, just so that I can have today as time in lieu to get this podcast done and work on the solo show and blah, blah, blah. So if it looks like my eyeballs are hanging out of my head and I'm just rambling nonsense and I don't know what I'm actually talking about, that is the exact reason why. So I'm sure when we do get to my picks and my breakdowns and shit, I'm going to be fumbling names. I'm going to be fumbling breakdowns. it's going to be a mess. But I appreciate you all for just hanging in there and bearing with me on this one. But back to Perth. Oh, my God. We've tried to get this out. Sorry if this is your first UFC breakdown you're tuning into. But, yeah, Perth ticket sales were down. And because of that, I think they said there was about 50% of the arena sold like the week before the event, which is, it's not good for a UFC card and it's not good for Australian MMA. Definitely not good in the eyes of Dana White and things like that. He's probably going to peel back on the Aussie cards if that's the respect we're going to show him. And like, that's what I mean. Look, on paper, the card wasn't great. Like, there was no big headliners that it was like, oh, fuck, I've got to get to Perth to see insert name. You know what I mean? So yes, although it was all Aussies and it was a good card and things like that, there was just no real star power about the card. And I think that's why it didn't sell so well. But in light of that, when you sit down and watch the card, it turned out to be an absolute fucking cracker. So, I think it just goes to show that you have to have a star to be able to sell a show. And oh boy, am I experiencing that at the moment, trying to sell a fucking solo show. October 3rd, Good Chat Comedy Club. Come along. When you're an absolute nobody trying to sell a show, oh God, it's a slog. But anyway, tickets ended up dropping to about $75 a ticket, like 2 days before the event, which if you were a Perth local and you did not go to that Perth card, what are you doing? Going to a UFC event for $75? Insane. So shout out to UFC Perth, lived up to everything it should have been. But on the back of that, Carlos Ulberg basically escaped the fight unscathed. He got the first round knockout and straight away he's like, I want to be the backup fighter for this weekend's main event. And from all reports, he's already flown to Vegas. He's started getting acclimated to everything over there and keeping his weight on top of his weight so that if someone does fall out, he's straight in there for the title. So shout out to Carlos Ulberg. That would be incredible if a Kiwi won another title in the Anzac region. Just going to take a little sip. Had no Celsius in the fridge, and my Lord, do I need one today. Celsius, reach out to your boy. So, Ulberg's over there training for the main event. We'll see if he gets a crack, but I think from all reports, this main event is it's full steam ahead. So unless somebody comes down with something the day of or twists an ankle the day before, I doubt he's going to get his shot. But, we've got other big news. If you're not in the UFC world and you're fucking intrigued and you've got your whiteboard markers out and you're doing like string lines between what could actually happen, the UFC White House card, it just every second week we seem to get an update on it. And I swear it's going to be the longest 12 months of my life just waiting for this thing. I think it's more like 10 months, but still, it's almost a year away. And the way they're hyping this thing up, God, I wish it was next week. They're saying it's going to be the biggest fight card of all time. I mean, it's on the White House. That's a spectacle in its own. Like you could put the Perth card on the weekend on that and it would still be incredible. It was like when they did it in the Sphere, like unreal that UFC is breaking boundaries like this. Now, cool thing is the fighters are going to be doing their walkthrough through the, what's it called? The Oval Office or whatever, like where the president sits. What the fuck? Who thinks of this shit? Dana White. That's who fucking thinks about this stuff. But, of course, we've got all the fighters chirping in. They want to be a part of it. They want to be this. They want to be that. And none bigger than Conor McGregor, okay? He's been teasing a return for, 4 or 5 years now? We're yet to see him since he snapped his leg against Dustin. I actually watched that documentary again last week on Netflix. Go check it out, where it's just the whole lead up to that and blah, blah, blah. So Conor's come out. He's like, I'm making my return on the White House card. Everything Dana is saying seems to coincide with it. It seems like we're going to get a Conor McGregor fight on the White House card. And God, you guys know I'm the biggest Conor dick rider in the world. I would love nothing more than to see him make that walk for one last time. But am I skeptical? 110%. And this week things have come out. Conor's come out and he's gone, after all this, right, everyone has drawn in. They're like, Conor's on the White House card. Oh, my God, Conor's coming back. Dana's basically gone, Conor's back. Now, Conor comes out this week and goes, oh, you know what? To fight on the White House card, I want $100 million. Oh, God, which is the most Conor shit to fucking do in the world. And straight away, everyone's like, oh, my God, we're not going to see Conor now. Conor's not going to fight. Nobody's going to pay him $100 million. Blah, blah, blah. And to that I say, guys, where have you been all of Conor McGregor's career? This is what he fucking does. He just baits you. He baits you. He leads you on. He builds news articles about himself. The UFC is not going to pay Conor McGregor $100 million, okay? I'll go out there. I'll put that on the line right now. I'll bet the fucking... God, I have nothing to bet right now, okay? You guys have drained me. But I will go out there and I'll say Conor is not getting $100 million from the UFC to fight on that card. Now, will Conor McGregor make $100 million from fighting on that card? Potentially, yes. Just in media deals, brand sponsorships, everything leading up to it. I would be very surprised if he's not on that card and he doesn't launch his next like business venture. He's done the fitness brand thing. He's done the whiskey brand thing. He's done fucking the BKFC now, which we've got news coming up for that. And yeah, if he doesn't launch, I don't know, what's he into these days? Conor cocaine. Do you want to get the eyes of ex-UFC champ Conor McGregor? Then try our Conor Coke, coming to you soon after UFC White House. And then it just zooms into Conor sitting at the president's desk just snorting a giant line of Coke and then walking to the Octagon. The ad writes itself, okay? The ad writes itself. Anyway, so yes, that's that. I believe we'll see Conor. It sounds like we're getting Conor versus Chandler, which, look, I don't want to tell the UFC matchmakers who to book on their fights and blah, blah, blah. But if you want to make the biggest fight for that card, we have to see Conor Nate 3. That is huge. Yes, Michael Chandler is seen as the American. You want to get the big American guy on the White House card to fly the American flag. But fucking Nate Diaz is American. I mean, half Mexican, half American. But still, he pretty much... what's that? Where's he from? He always says his postcode. I don't remember. Look up the Nate Diaz postcode. He says it when he slaps people. 309? Might be 309. I don't know. Anyway, so I would prefer to see Conor versus Nate 3, just the decider. The trilogy completes itself. It's probably both their last fights. It'd be huge. They're both one apiece. They both got one win on each other. It just makes sense. And if we get Conor Chandler, I think we're just going to get what we got last time we had Conor Chandler booked, is just Conor not showing up, basically. But I feel like we book Nate, he has to show up. He has to get that trilogy in the books. He wants to be the top dog. He can ride off in the sunset, hopefully get a win over Nate, and the world is whole once again. He can go off and do whatever the fuck he needs to do. But anyway, got two more things to touch on before we do the breakdown. Now, I have been working on a big conspiracy theory in my head for the UFC White House card, okay? Nobody is on board with me on this, but I need to get it out into the atmosphere, so if it does come to fruition, I have it on paper. I can clip this up and I go, hey, I predicted this on the 1st of October 2025, and then it ended up happening. Now, a huge seen as potentially one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, Cain Velasquez. Yes, he's had his troubles with the law. If you disagree with the troubles that he's had with the law, you're a bad person. I mean, I'm ride or die with Cain. He is in prison at the moment for doing some not so nice things to somebody that potentially... Actually, I don't even think it was potentially. I think it's been proven in the court of law. Did some bad things to one of his children. And Cain went out there and did what every dad should do. And, yeah, I mean, I wish he went a different way about it and beat the fuck out of the guy instead of going there with a gun. But it is what it is. Anyway, huge supporter of Cain Velasquez, Dana White. Dana White put up a large portion of Cain's bail when he got bailed out. I think he's back in jail now, but serving his time. Now, I looked up statistics. Cain is due out in about February, March of next year, okay? The White House card, I believe, is in June, July. That gives Cain about a 3-month training camp to come back. He gets out of prison. He's got all this pent-up aggression. He needs to let it out on someone. The UFC heavyweight division is struggling at the moment. We've got no real superstars coming up. What can we do to boost some juice into this division? Let's get Cain back. Let's get Cain Velasquez on the UFC White House card. Holy shit, that would be huge. Dana White is also a big fan of Cain Velasquez. There were rumors circling that Dana was going to pardon Cain. Didn't end up happening, but my lord, if this is something you could do to scratch Cain on the back, put him on the UFC White House card. That would be unbelievable. I actually, I went to Brendan Schaub with this idea last week. It actually blows my mind, okay? Like, The Fighter and the Kid was probably the first podcast that really got me into podcasting, okay, back in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And basically my whole podcasting world grew from there. I discovered Rogan and shit through The Fighter and the Kid. That's how weird that is. So the fact that I've shot Brendan Sharp a couple of DMs on Instagram over the last couple of years and he's replied to me with like genuine replies blows my fucking mind. Anyway, I messaged Sharp last week. I go, hey, Sharp, know you're into your Real Housewives of the UFC shit. How's this sound for a crazy idea? Pitched it to him and he's like, I'm pretty sure he said something like, bro, I fucking love that, but Kane's done. I don't see this happening. So, Sharp, we'll see. We'll see who's correct when the card gets announced. But my lord, I'd love nothing more than to see that. Last thing before we go into the breakdown, bit of breaking news, and I have to be a little bit vague about this, okay? I can't announce anything. I can't say anything. But let's just stay tuned for a potential BKFC Australia announcement coming up. It got cancelled earlier in the year. It was supposed to happen in Perth. The government couldn't get it done. Now, could potentially, I don't know, be happening somewhere around me, maybe before the end of the year. I don't know. We'll have to stay tuned. Like I said, I have to be pretty vague. I can't say my sources. I can't say where I heard this from. But my lord, I'm keen to see BKFC in Australia. I've been listening to a bit of Beck Rawlings' podcast, Rowdy Beck, and she let a little bit slip the other month that she's in fight camp for something coming up by the end of the year. Do we have Beck Rawlings headlining a BKFC card coming up? Who knows? Do we have Hayes Happy getting the win in Spain or Italy or something in the next couple of weeks and backing it up in his hometown? I don't know, guys. Like I said, I can't say anything, all right? You guys do with that information what you will. But anyway, let's rip into the UFC 320 breakdown. Few of these fights, I'm just going to skim over, okay? Yes, I said it's a pretty stacked card, but when you have a stacked card with big names on it, they can't book everyone, okay? This is not the UFC White House card I was talking about earlier. This is just a general pay-per-view. So yes, we've got multiple big names as we get towards the top of the card, but we have to sprinkle a few up-and-comers and no-names and things like that throughout the card. And does that mean they're going to be boring fights? No, it doesn't. Sometimes those are the best fights. They're the most unexpected. You go into it, you're like, this is going to be a fucking sleeper. And then it ends up just being the sickest fight you've ever seen. So let's kick off with what I think will be a not exciting fight, okay? So we're just going to skim over it. We kick off in the early prelims in the women's flyweight division. We've got Veronica Hardy, who's the favourite at $1.16, versus Brogan Walker. She's paying $6.30, which I believe is... Actually, no, she's not the biggest underdog. She must be the second biggest underdog because, my lord, when we get to the biggest underdog on the card, we are going to talk about it. Now, Hardy she's the more experienced. She's got a better record. She seems a little bit calmer in the cage, so... At $1.16, you've just got to go her. I don't think it's going to be a finish. I think it's going to be by decision. Look, it's not the most exciting fight to kick off a card like this, but we've got to push through. So I'm going Veronica Hardy at $1.16. Sorry, there's no juicy odds there for you. Then we go to the welterweight division. We have Ramiz Brahmaj. Okay, I'm sorry for fucking up your name, but I am more interested in the second fighter in this. We have... potentially one of my favorite underground fighters of all time. Now, I need to stress to you guys how excited I am for this fight. And am I a little bit upset that it's the second card on the early prelims? Second fight on the early prelims? A little bit. I think my boy needs a little bit more respect. But I believe if he gets this fight in the bag, he's going to move right up. And of course, I'm talking about Mr. Van Zandt, Austin Vanderford. Is it offensive that you get called Mr. Van Zandt because your wife is the more famous out of the couple? A little bit. But is Austin Vanderford one of the sickest cunts on the circuit? Yes, 100%. So he had a pretty successful Bellator career. Sirens outside. I hope they're not coming through. So yeah, I'm going Austin. I want him to get a finish, but I feel like this dude's just going to grapple with him and play around with him. So I'm going to go Austin by decision. He's paying $1.40 just for the straight out win. So everyone get behind our boy Austin Vanderford. Let's pump him up in the UFC and get him in that championship talk. Then we go on to the welterweight division. God, some of these names are hard to pronounce with zero sleep. We have Punahel Soriano versus Nikolai Vetramikov. Okay? I fucked them up. I admit it. I put my hand up. I'm sorry to disrespect you guys. Soriano is the more established UFC fighter. Probably seen as, I don't know if he's seen as a vet. He hasn't really been around that long. But where's he from? Kazakhstan. This Kazakhstan guy, he's piqued my interest, okay? But I do see Soriano getting the win. Either by, look, I've said a couple of decisions. I don't want to say a decision again. Let's go a late finish in this one. Let's go Soriano by late finish. Then we go into the bantamweight division. Another exciting one. We got Patchy Mix versus Jacob Wickalks. I don't know. But Patchy Mix is another one that's come over from Bellator. Another one that I was excited to see in the UFC. So I'm going to, again, not much to break down in this one. I think Patchy Mix has to get a win in this one to start to prove himself in the UFC with those bigger competitors and things like that. I'm going to go Patchy Mix by submission just to make it a bit more excited. What's he paying? He's only paying $1.35 just for the straight out win. So yeah, go Patchy Mix by finish, actually. Oh, drop my phone. I think it could be, either by submission or ground and pound. So I don't know what the odds are for that, but jump on it. Then we finish the early prelims in the women's bantamweight division. We've got Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. Now, again, I feel like this is going to be another boring chick fight. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm going to go Chiasson by decision. She's paying $1.51. Again, not great odds. Not going to be a great fight. Let's move on. Scroll up to the prelims. Kick-off in the featherweight division. We've got Daniel Santos versus Yu Ju Sang. Here we go, guys. Buckle in. It's been relatively boring up until now. And here we go. Let's get into some fucking dogs. Now, Santos is the more tried and tested one, okay? But there is something exciting about an up-and-coming guy from Korea called, what was his name? Yu Ju Sang. He is an undefeated fighter. I believe his record is 9-0. He is crazy underdog value at $2.20. Let's jump on that, guys. Jump on that. That is our first dog of the card, and I think he can get it done. Then we go to the bantamweight division. We got Chris Guerreritos versus Farid Basharat. I am going, now, again, I don't want to go two underdogs back-to-back. Highly likely it's going to happen, isn't it? But in this circumstance, we're fucking going it because the odds for, I'm just going to use his first name, Chris, $4.10 for the win. My Lord, he is the more experienced one. I think he might, if he can keep this guy under control with his grappling and things like that, his opponent is undefeated, okay? That worries me a bit. But, like I said, $4.10 for this guy to grind out a decision with a young up-and-comer, I think he can do it just with his experience and durability and things like that. So, yeah, let's jump on him. Chris at $4.10. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name again. Then we go middleweight division. We've got Edmen Shahbazyan versus Andre Muniz. Muniz? I don't know. One of them. So Shahbazyan, he's definitely the one that I know the most about out of the two of these, okay? I've looked at both their records. I've looked at previous fights, things like that. And I really want to go Shahbazyan. Like I said, he's the one that I know the most about, things like that. But his opponent, Muniz, seems to like a finish. So he's paying $3.16. Holy shit, that's three underdogs back to back to back. My Lord. Am I going to make you guys a fuckload of money in this card? Potentially, guys, potentially. So jump on that one. Let's go Muniz by submission or late finish. So just go the finish. Don't go sub or knockout. I think it could be either. But yeah, I think he could sink a late choke if he grinds it out to sort of round 3. Then we go middleweight division. We've got, okay. This is one that I was excited about. And this is where I was talking earlier about the biggest dog on the card. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not going the dog in this one. We are definitely not going the dog. we are going one of my potentially favorite new fighters up and coming in the division. We have the middleweight division. We've got Ateba Abega Gautier versus Osman Diaz. Now, we spoke about this Gautier character on the last pay-per-view, I believe. He's backing it up. And, I think he's going to get the finish in this one. He's paying $1.13. He's the biggest favorite on the card. And I think he has to be. This guy is a little tank. I said it last time. He's like a mini Francis Ngannou. I think he's just going to go in there. I want to see a first-round knockout. Could be a second-round knockout. Either one. He gets it done with ease, guys. Like I said, I'm glad that I'm doing these breakdowns and I can go on record. So when that guy is the champ in the next 2 years or so, I can go, guys, I fucking called it. All right, let's kick off the main card, guys. What we're all here for. All these fights are juicy as shit, and it is an exciting main card. So it is worth the $70 this month. If you got nothing to do on Sunday, give Uncle Dana a 70. Is it 70? It might even be 60. I don't know, but I'm going to take a sip before we do rip in. Oh, yeah. All right. We have Joe Pyfer versus Abus Magomedov. Everyone is saying Joe Pyfer in this, but there is something about this German, Magomedov. I feel like he's gonna get the upset here. I like the upset for Magomedov in this one. I'm going to go Magomedov by finish again. I don't know if he's going to get the sub. I think he might even get the knockout in this one. So go Magomedov by finish. Magomedov is paying $2.96 outright just for the win. So even if you want to play it safe, just in case it does grind out to a decision, those are still crazy fucking odds. So lock that one in, guys. We're going another underdog. Oh, my Lord. It has been a while since I've been able to dabble in the world of underdogs in the UFC world, but this card has me excited for the dogs. So we have fan favorite Josh Emmett up against Youssef Zalal. Zalal, maybe? Who knows? But this is the featherweight division, and Josh Emmett is a little beast. He is a proven vet of the sport. He's been around for so fucking long now, and he seems to have found a second wind in his career. I've doubted him probably 3 of his last 4 fights, okay? And he's proven me wrong time and time again. He has lost me so much money, and I'm not going to let that happen again. So for UFC 320, I'm grinding it out with my boy Josh Emmett at $4.75. That is for a straight outright win, it's rude. That is rude. Sports bet. Say sorry to my boy. But for a little bit more excitement, I'm going to go. I think Josh Emmett is going to come out and he's going to go for the finish in this one, and he's going to fucking call out for a title shot. I'm going to go Josh Emmett by KO. Maybe second round KO, I reckon. Unreal. So, again, so many dogs. Now, the next one, we've got Jiri Procházka versus Khalil Rountree. I am so excited for this fight in the light heavyweight division. Just 2 absolute warriors just banging it out. Khalil Rountree, when he came back from his sabbatical or whatever you want to call it from Thailand, I've been on the bandwagon ever since. He is such an exciting fighter, and ever since he developed that Thai stance and things like that, so good to watch. And then just hearing his story and shit on Rogan, I'm obsessed with the bloke, and I would love nothing more than for him to win. But we've got a scary, scary Polish warrior. Is he Polish? Let me scroll up. Oh, no, Chechnya. We've got a Chechnyan warrior in the name of Jiri Procházka, who is screaming to grind his way back to a title shot. He's had a bit of a bad run, okay? But he is looking good for this fight. He's looking in shape. His mindset, from everything I've seen, seems to be back on track. He is wild. He's unpredictable. I think just because of that, realistically, like I said, Khalil just has that dialed-in Thai fighting stance now, and he's just the reason Khalil is so good is he's so technical, and I feel like Procházka is just going to go in there and he's just going to do some funky movements. He's going to do swings from all weird places that you're not even fucking meant to swing from, and it's just going to throw Khalil off. And I got to go Procházka for the win by finish. I will hate to see it. I'll put my hand up. I don't want to see it, but I do see it happening. So Procházka is paying $1.56 for the win. I'm not sure how much by finish, but up to you guys. Co-main event. I am excited for this one as well. We've got the champion, Merab Dvalishvili, at $1.27 up against Cory Sandhagen. I am a big believer, okay? And yes, this is not an original thought. I've heard this a lot on a couple of MMA podcasts and stuff this week. I think Cory Sandhagen is the last real challenge for Merab in this division. If Merab gets through Cory Sandhagen, which I strongly believe he will, I don't know who's going to stop him. We are going to have to wait out the next 2 or 3 years for the UFC to build a young up-and-comer to come up and challenge Merab. And until then, we're just going to have boring, lackluster main events of people throwing themselves into the cage with Merab just for him to grind out 5-round decisions. So, look, as much as I want Sandhagen to win, Merab is one of the best champions we have at the moment. He is a tank. He is unstoppable. He's got the best cardio in the UFC. He can literally go 100% for 5 rounds straight. We can't see that from anyone else in the UFC at the moment. So I've got to go Dvalishvili by decision. I'm not sure how much he's paying by decision, but yeah, God, I would love to see Cory Sandhagen somehow get the win, but we'll see. We'll see. Then we go into our main event. It is the rematch that were we screaming for this rematch? Probably not. Did we need to see it? 110%. And only from the clear point of view, we owe it to Alex Pereira, okay? Alex Pereira will go down as the person to probably save the UFC the most in the last 8 years, okay? Just back-to-back pay-per-views, late call-up, someone drops out, Alex puts his hand up, and because of that, we owe him this rematch. Now, when they originally fought, Pereira came out and he said he had injuries. And look, usually when fighters come out and say this, you go, oh, don't make fucking excuses. But when Pereira comes out and says it, and his record that he has of just back-to-back fights, late fill-ins, like I said, you've got to respect the guy and you've got to go, okay, if anyone is going to have injuries and be fighting at 40% of his capabilities, which is the number that he's thrown out in his last fight, you've got to give it to Alex. So I would like to believe the man when he says that. The banter has built up between these two leading up to the fight. Do I think it's real? Not really. I think both these guys are very nice guys and they see it as like they need to put a bit of this smack talk and bad blood in there to sell the fight because, like I said, it's not a rematch we needed to see, but it's not a rematch we wanted to see. It's more of a rematch we needed to see, sorry. So I feel like they need to do something to sell the fight. But in saying that, it is going to be if Pereira is as ready as he is now saying he is, he's back to his best, this could be a fucking amazing fight. We could see Pereira at his best, which is an insane statement to see going off the back of wins that we've seen him have in the past. So because of that, I have to believe our boy Alex Pereira. Not only does he have the background to prove it, he also is a massive underdog again. Alex Pereira at $2.99, the most disrespectful thing I've seen on this entire card, okay? I am locking in Alex Pereira by finish for, again, I don't know the fucking odds for the finish. I should have dug a bit deeper, but I've had no sleep. So we're going Alex Pereira just for the straight win at $2.99. Crazy, crazy shit. Get on it, guys. Get on it. Support our boy Pereira. Absolute beast of the sport. All right. Let's get on to what we're all here for, guys. Let's get on to our Can't Bet Any Worse multi for UFC. Oh, my God. I fuck this up every month. Let's get on to our Can't Bet Any Worse multi for UFC 320, voted on by you guys, the listeners. We have Alex Pereira with 70% of the votes. We've got Merab with 86% of the votes. And we've got Khalil Rountree with 57% of the votes, giving us a combined multi of $9.25, guys. So I'm going to slap a sneaky 10 on that, and we're going to ride it out together, all right? Let's hope that we can get this one up. Other than that, guys, that's been our UFC 320 breakdown. I appreciate you all listening and jumping on. A couple of things to plug. I'll be at a Prey Surf the night this comes out. If you're in the Gold Coast area, I'll be headlining the Guilt Free Comedy Club on Friday the 3rd. So that is my first real booked headliner spot, which I'm fucking so excited for. Then we've got the big one, October 7th, my debut solo comedy show, Epiphany, is happening at Good Chat Comedy Club. Guys, please, please, please. I'm struggling with tickets. I'll be straight up with you guys. If you guys can throw it on your story, tell anyone you know in the Southeast Queensland region, anything to help a boy out. I've tried everything. I've jumped on podcasts. I've done paid marketing. I've done social media fucking clips. I've put it on my stories every few days. I'm grasping at straws, guys. So if you know anyone, send them my direction. Get them to DM me, and I can probably even hook them up with a sneaky discount code. But other than that, guys, we've got the Orion Hotel next Friday as well, October 10th. Appreciate you guys listening. If you want to get in touch with the show, send me a DM on Instagram at cantgetanyworsepodcast, or send me an email at cantgetanyworsepod@gmail.com. I'm going to go get some sleep, guys. I appreciate you all listening. Have fun on Sunday with the fights, and I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver